Africa is the cradle of civilization, yet many of its greatest empires have been buried by time and silence. These weren't tribes, they were powerful kingdoms with armies, architecture, and advanced knowledge. But something happened in the past that history tried to erase. Most people know Africa for its wildlife safaris, beautiful beaches, and ancient Egypt. Few know that the continent is home to some of the most historically significant sites on Earth. Beneath the sands of the Sahara and along the banks of the Nile are echoes of civilizations that once flourished here. From the Kingdom of Aksum to the mighty Mali Empire, each kingdom tells a tale of power, wealth, and culture. Yet many of these kingdoms are shrouded in mystery, lost to the annals of time, or intentionally erased from history books. Welcome to our journey through time as we uncover the stories of 5 African kingdoms that history almost forgot. You'll be amazed at what you learn. 5. The Kingdom of Aksum. Imagine a bustling city in an ancient world where trade routes converge. A place where the Queen of Sheba might have rested, where incense from Arabia mingles with the aroma of Ethiopian coffee. This was Aksum, not just a city, but a kingdom that thrived around 100 AD to 940 AD in present-day Ethiopia and Eritrea. At its peak, it wasn't just a trading hub, it was a powerhouse. The Kingdom of Aksum controlled the flow of goods from India to Europe. They dealt in ivory, gold, silk, and rare animals like elephants. They even minted their own currency. Now that's real wealth. But it's what they left behind that's truly fascinating. Stelae, these towering stone monuments are a testament to the Aksumite ingenuity. Some are over 33 feet tall, a fitting tribute to their rulers who were considered divine. Their obelisks stand strong, narrating tales of a glorious past. But why did history almost forget them? One reason is that the Kingdom of Aksum didn't leave behind written records in common languages. Much of what we know comes from accounts by Greek, Roman, and Arabic travelers. Another reason is that the kingdom's conversion to Christianity in the 4th century led to the abandonment of its earlier traditions. This shift made it challenging for later generations to connect with their pre-Christian roots. However, recent archaeological discoveries are shedding new light on the Kingdom of Aksum, revealing a rich cultural heritage that defies the boundaries of time. Imagine exploring these ancient ruins yourself, walking among the stelae and feeling the echoes of a forgotten era beneath your feet. The Kingdom of Aksum reminds us that history is like an iceberg. Most of it lies hidden beneath the surface, waiting for us to dive deep and uncover the treasures of the past. 4. Great Zimbabwe. Now let's travel south to present-day Zimbabwe. There, in the rolling hills overlooking the land, is the Great Zimbabwe, a name that means dry stone walls in Shona. But what lies within these walls is anything but ordinary. Between the 11th and 15th centuries, this hill was the seat of power for a thriving kingdom. At its height, Great Zimbabwe wasn't just a fortress, it was a symbol of African greatness. The massive stone structures are a marvel, built without mortar and yet standing strong against the test of time. But how did these kingdoms keep their history a secret? Well, one big reason was that Great Zimbabwe had no written language. The people kept their history in oral traditions, which often get lost or changed over time. Plus, there was a lot of mystery surrounding the site. When European explorers found it in the 15th century, they couldn't believe that Africans could have built such a grand city, so they concocted wild theories. They claimed that the great builders must have been a mythical race of giants, or that the city was the biblical city of Solomon. But now historians know better. Archaeological evidence points to a sophisticated society with its own unique culture and identity. If you ever visit, walk along the ramparts. Imagine the bustling markets and the people going about their daily lives. Remember, this was a city with a thriving economy, controlling trade routes and minting its own gold coins. Great Zimbabwe reminds us that history can be full of surprises and that sometimes the greatest discoveries are right under our noses. 3. the Mali Empire under Mansa Musa. Now let's turn our attention to the Mali Empire. This West African empire was a gold mine, quite literally. During the reign of Mansa Musa in the 14th century, it became one of the largest empires in history. It stretched from the Atlantic coast to the center of Africa. But why is Mansa Musa known as the Forgotten King? One reason is that despite his immense wealth and power, Mansa Musa never pursued an interest in writing his own history or commissioning historians to record his deeds. He ruled during a time when much of Africa was resisting the efforts of Arab and European chroniclers to document its history. In fact, the history of the Mali Empire was primarily recorded by Arab and European sources, leading to a skewed perspective on the contributions of African leaders like Mansa Musa. Additionally, the oral traditions of the Mali Empire were primarily focused on preserving ancestral history and lineage, rather than recording the exploits of its rulers. This resulted in a fragmented historical narrative with gaps in the timeline and a limited understanding of the empire's achievements. Furthermore, the collapse of the Mali Empire and the subsequent rise of other empires and kingdoms led to the gradual fading of Mansa Musa's legacy from collective memory. Despite this, the accomplishments of Mansa Musa were nothing short of legendary. Under his rule, the Mali Empire became the wealthiest in the history of the world. Gold flowed like water, and his capital city, Niamey, became a center of learning and culture. The Mali Empire under Mansa Musa serves as a reminder that history is often written from multiple perspectives, and that it's essential to seek out diverse narratives to gain a comprehensive understanding of the past. 2. The Kingdom of Kush. Let's go back in time to the Kingdom of Kush, an ancient African empire located in what is now northern Sudan. This kingdom thrived between the 8th century BC and the 4th century AD, boasting a rich history and culture that rivaled even ancient Egypt. But why is it called the Forgotten Kingdom? Well, the Kingdom of Kush was largely forgotten due to a combination of factors. Firstly, the kingdom was situated in a remote region of Nubia, away from the main centers of trade and cultural exchange. This geographical isolation limited its interaction with other civilizations and resulted in a scarcity of written records and artifacts. Secondly, the kingdom's written language was Meroitic, a script that remained undeciphered for many years, hindering the access to its historical records. Moreover, the kingdom's history was overshadowed by the rise and dominance of ancient Egypt, which absorbed Kush's cultural influence and diverted attention away from its own achievements. The Kingdom of Kush left behind a legacy of impressive pyramids, showcasing their architectural prowess and cultural achievements. Exploring these pyramids and remnants of the kingdom provides a glimpse into a forgotten world where African civilizations thrived. Can you imagine standing in the shadow of a Kushite pyramid, feeling the weight of history and wondering about the secrets held within its ancient stones? The Kingdom of Kush invites us to challenge conventional narratives and recognize the contributions of African civilizations to world history. 1. The Benin Kingdom and its lost bronzes. Now let's travel to present-day Nigeria to explore the Benin Kingdom. Between the 13th and 19th centuries, this kingdom was a powerhouse. The Benin Empire produced bronze sculptures of unparalleled beauty and historical significance. But many of these masterpieces are now lost, residing in European museums far from their place of origin. The Benin Kingdom was intentionally erased from history due to several factors. The transatlantic slave trade actively worked to suppress knowledge of powerful African kingdoms like Benin, aiming to portray Africa as a place lacking in civilization and culture. European colonizers further marginalized African narratives, replacing them with Eurocentric histories. The Benin bronzes, looted during the British invasion of Benin City in 1897, serve as a potent symbol of this erasure. But the Benin Kingdom's story doesn't end there. The kingdom boasted intricate art and a complex social structure. Its kings were revered as divine, and its society was highly organized with specialized craftspeople, merchants, and a hierarchical system. However, the Benin Kingdom faced its demise due to internal conflicts and external pressures. Rivalries among the nobility and attacks from neighboring kingdoms weakened its stability. Additionally, the transatlantic slave trade disrupted trade networks and caused socio-economic upheaval. Imagine wandering through a museum filled with these magnificent bronzes, each piece telling a story of a forgotten kingdom. The Benin Kingdom and its lost bronzes remind us that art is not merely aesthetics, it's a reflection of a culture and history. These 5 kingdoms are just the tip of the iceberg. There are many more African civilizations whose stories are waiting to be told. Each kingdom had its own unique contributions to African history and played a vital role in shaping the continent's cultural landscape. So next time you think of African history, don't just picture ancient Egypt. Remember the Kingdom of Aksum, Great Zimbabwe, Mali, Kush, Benin, and all the other kingdoms whose voices are rising above the sands of time. Thanks for joining us on this journey through time. Which kingdom fascinated you the most? Let us know in the comments below. And if you loved this video, don't forget to subscribe for more. Together we can rewrite history and celebrate the richness of African heritage. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep discovering the wonders of our world.